all to another episode of the PV Podcast. I'm your host today, Sam, along with my co-hosts, Dev and Sogi. How you doing, boys?
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
How's it going? Have you guys recovered from the weekend result?
Yeah, I'm recovered from the result. Wouldn't say I'm a bit disappointed, putting it lightly. I'm proper disappointed at the performance. Forget the 2 goals that we've scored. The performance all over was disjointed. And yeah, so it took a bit of getting over, but onwards to the next game.
Dev, were you surprised by... It took me by surprise. Were you surprised by the performance, especially the first 45? What did you make of it?
I think that was the most shocking part of it, that we didn't start properly. They had a lot more intensity than us, and they really went for us. Although they played a counter-attacking football, I couldn't see where we was going to score a goal from. Our crossing was rubbish again. You went to that training session. I went to as well at Villa Park.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the crosses. They played that training session where they do the crossing into the box, and they were hitting behind the attackers, or they're hitting it too far. I was thinking, they can't even cross the ball. And that carried on into this first game. I think their goalkeeper caught every corner we had, or any crosses we had. So yeah, first half I was really disappointed. I was a bit worried that it was going to be more than 2-0 in the end, but we recovered second half a little bit.
Yeah, it was surprising. I think from my point of view as well, I didn't see that coming. Yes, we've had a bit of a disjointed preseason, but a lot of teams have had that. I remember watching, the game on Friday night, thinking, yes, Brentford have come up and they've got the momentum behind them and they've got the crowd, but I didn't realise how much of a difference first game back, promoted team, and then their home crowd behind them. I mean, do you think, Sagi, that made a massive difference in our performance, the fact that we've got a crowd behind the opposition team?
To an extent, yeah. But watching the game, there were actually quite a few empty seats in the Watford crowd. And as intense as the Brentford crowd. But yes, of course, it's possible they score the first goal. The crowd are right behind them and cheering everything they do, every tackle, every block, every pass, and obviously gave Watford a bit of a lift. And yeah, it showed, because they tore us to shreds that first 60-odd minutes. They were 70-odd minutes. They were literally. It's a good job we weren't playing any of the so-called big six, because that could have been a lot bad. But crowds, yeah, definitely making a difference. Definitely see that.
And it was a not only lack of, but it looked like we hadn't played with the team before. Now, to be correct, we haven't played that starting 11 previously. Target as well, on the left hand side, he looked at us all and he didn't look like he was matching up. I don't want to go down the obvious, but we didn't have a talisman, did we, Dev? We didn't have anyone to actually give the ball to and say, right, grab it and go, like we probably would do last season.
I felt a bit sorry for Target, actually. I thought Ashley Young could have helped him out much more. There was no cover. There was no cover with him. Or John McGinn being left-footed should have gone over to that side and, seeing the danger. They were just coming down that one side of, the guy had so much pace. Saar. And Target couldn't cope with him, and he needed help. He needed someone to double up with him. We didn't get that support. Remember the TV commentator? He said after about a couple of minutes, he said, Target's all over the place here. He needs support, and Dean Smith knew nothing about it.
And that's so actually quite surprising, considering that Ashley Young for the last couple of years has played like a left back or a wing back on a role. So he's got that defensive mindset, but it was weird. I also think I know absolutely we love our Argentinian, and even on today's Villa website they massively bigged up Emi Martinez with the Copa America win and Douglas Luiz with the Brazil gold. But do you think Emi Martinez could have done a bit better with the first goal? Because I look back on that thinking, and Konza looked up after he made the first block, and he looked up and he's like, "Dude, you should have had that." I mean, don't you like that, Sog?
Yeah, it could have. I mean, it's hard to be critical of Martinez because last season he was fantastic, but looking at it, I did wince. I think I know it was close to him, but yeah, you could have done a bit better. But again, it's we don't want to pick on players because I think collectively they were all bad. The defense, I just sometimes when you watch Villa play and you look at the defense, they seem so like they're playing the game in like Dean Smith, like a friendly, like, you know, there's no intensity there, like closing players down. And even when they got the ball to clear it, they're all casual. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Martinez could have done better, but you know, we know over the course of the season he'll bag us hopefully a lot of points like he did last season.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a bit harsh to call him out there. I just looked at it and thought, I'm not sure. But surprisingly, you make a good point there. We've had changes in the team up higher up the pitch, but Dave, that's our back five. That's our consistent back five from last year.
But yeah, it didn't gel, did it? There was something. As I said, there was nothing missing in the back five. There was exactly the same players, but Mings looked a bit off as well. He didn't. He had that. He was waiting for him to make that one mistake, and I was a bit, Cons is a lot more consistent, and but yeah, Mings. I didn't have that much confidence in him again, and Target was off form, and Cash as well. I didn't think he had a good game either.
It's a shame that we did do that a couple of times last season where the whole team was off. You know, sometimes one or two players are off, and you can kind of hide that with the other performances. But we did have a couple of games. I can't recall now, but I remember talking about a game that literally all our players turned around and said, "We're not coming into. We're not doing the job." But do you reckon that's got a lot to do with, because even Nakamba, when he played last year, when he came in, because the usual two in the middle would be McGinn and Louise. But when Nakamba came in last year, he came in and he actually pulled in some really good performances. I was disappointed in his game as well. We know what he can't do. Great. We know what he can't do. He's going to do some simple stuff. But on his simple, you know, they're all like all over the place. And it's surprising that the combination of him and McGinn didn't work for me. Do you reckon like we should play the midfield two or have a midfield three there solid? Sog, what do you reckon?
Yeah, going back on Nakamba, it just every time they got the ball, it just didn't seem like there was anyone to pass to. Our fullbacks kind of ran towards the halfway line. Watford sat back, and I think I wouldn't patch too much blame on Nakamba, but nobody was running to the ball to say, "Give it to me." It's like they were all running and just like lob it over the top. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think we do need. I think Nakamba, if he's left just to shield the back four by himself, and he's got two players in front of him, that he can just do what he does best: tackle and pass it 5 or 6 yards and give it to the players he can play and say, "Go on, do something with it." I think that's his best attribute. But when he's forced to try and look up and try and play some, passes through the defense, through the midfield to the attack, he hasn't got down his luck out. I think he's more just a tackle and I'll give it to the players who can play.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's missing Dougie Louise next to him. I think he's a guy who could find those passes. Nakamba will win the ball back. He's a ball winner. But McGinn's lost that ability of long passes or through passes. I think Louise could do that.
Yeah, I've also looked at the way McGinn played for Scotland, and when he does play for Scotland, and even Villa, when he had the shackles released, when he played further up the pitch, he seemed to influence it. Now, yes, he had a different role last year completely, but actually looking at a formation where actually you have Nakamba and Douglas Luiz sitting, so you have Nakamba winning the ball past Luiz raking passes across the pitch, and actually have McGinn playing a little bit further up the pitch. Whether we can accommodate that kind of positional play with the players that we've got, because obviously you want to get in Buenda, you want to get in Traore, you want to get in Ings and Watkins. It's a nice problem to have in a sense going forward, but we need to make sure that partnership in front of the back four is the right partnership. And there's a lot of talk about going out and getting a defensive midfielder, but we've got Sanson or Sanson, however you want to say it. But we've got a couple of players who sit there, and we've got youngsters who can potentially play that role. The problem for me is having a slow start in terms of losing the first match. It's straight away you're on the back foot, having to get a result in the next game.
Yeah. I think personally, I think Dean Smith is going to be under a lot more pressure this season. Of course, he deserves this season. He's improved us, but the scrutiny is going to be on him even more. Now, he spent money. Potentially, they're going to spend more money. Okay, he's lost Grealish, but if Villa in the next 10 games are underperforming, I don't think our owners are going to accept it, because we've seen, especially with the Edens, I mean, they know how to run the sports team. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we're not doing well and come Christmas, he's gone, because they're going to think, right, as they said, there's no room for sentiment. They will be ruthless, right, next person in. And I think Smith needs to kind of figure out what's his best formation and kind of do it quick, because from what I saw, especially on the weekend, I think it was, I got no issues with the players, but we could all see Target was struggling. And the fact that he never did anything, it's just like, come on. I mean, I'm not a manager, but I can see what's going on. Do something. And he's talking to his number two, and they're pointing their fingers, and he's like, well, then do something.
You know what? Exactly. You make a really good point about his number two and stuff. So in the space of, obviously, in the space of 10 days, we lost our best player, we've lost the number two, and we lost Terry in terms of obviously the coach and whatnot. From a coaching perspective, he's got Shakespeare. He's got this new set piece coach with, like you said, the corners were going straight to the keeper, you know, he's going out to recruit for a coach, etc. I make you right. I think that he's going to be under pressure. Yeah, it's like losing weight. If you're mortal like me, you get to a certain stage, you can lose the initial weight easy, but it's when you're trying to tone down that little extra, it's harder. So we've gone from 17 to 11th, and that maybe was a bit easier for us. The next step for us as Villa to break into the top six is going to be hard, and you're right, 100%. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him. For me,
I agree with Sogi. I think this is his last year. I think if he doesn't, I can't see him taking us to the next level. He's been brilliant for us. I'm not knocking the guy, but we want ambition to go Champions League and all these kind of things. We need a better coach, someone who can coach the players better and see things change during the game, rather than, apparently he said at half time, you asked the players, said, what do we need to do, or something like that. And that's what I heard. It should be coming from him, really. He should, we could see on TV, and he should see it live. So, Target needs more support. You need to bring one of those players to double up with against Sarr. Yeah.
See, I've always been into the thing where, look, it's been progression after progression, and we need to give him a chance, because the biggest problem that we had prior to the new investment that we had, right, was a chop and change of manager, which meant a chop and change of players, chop and change of philosophy, the whole recruitment and stuff. The difference now, I guess, is that they've got the back end of the back office, the kind of behind the scenes when it comes to the under 23s, and the setup that we've got is actually good and consistent. So would changing the head coach, would that, because we got was it Lange? What's his name? The sporting director. We've got him, who's actually doing a lot of good work behind the scenes. So if we change the coach, would that really change the setup and the stuff, that investment that we've made in the background? I don't know. But for me, I still massively, I do believe in it. You know what? Maybe it's my heart over my head thinking I want him to do good. He's done progress after season after season. He's progressed. So do we give him until at minimum Christmas? Like I said, if it's disastrous, I agree. Let's get rid. And looking at the other side, if we do get rid, these guys, I'd be excited about the next manager we recruit, because we're now, with the money we've got, we're the level that Everton were when they got Ancelotti, for example. They got Benitez now. We're in that level, aren't we? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I totally agree, Sam. I think we're we're at that level now. I mean, Everton, bloody hell, they've wasted almost £1 billion on God knows who. I mean, you actually look at their team, you think, well, who have you actually bought? But I think if it doesn't last till Christmas, and I'm with you. I would love for him to do well. I really would. But maybe we may finish 10th with him or 9th. Will that be the good enough for the owners to keep him? I don't know. But our next appointment would have to be the right one. Who to get? I don't know who they could attract. I just don't know how ambitious they are, which we led to believe they are, and who they will try and get. I mean, it's exciting. We don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I suppose. But at the moment, Dino's in charge, so hopefully he can press us on. We got Brentford on Newcastle on the weekend, and okay, I know they lost against West Ham, but they attacked, and Villa need to be watchful of it, especially Wilson and Maximum, and just basically get a win under our belt.
You know what? That's a good shout, because if Saar ripped Target to shreds, Maximum's got all the tricks under the belt. So what's going to happen there, Dev?
Totally, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he's even more skillful as well. He's not just fast. He's skillful as well. So it'd be interesting if Target plays. Was he unfit, or was he just lack of confidence, or did the guy destroy his confidence? We just don't know. Actually, Young's 36. Would he have to cope with it? There's a lot of questions there, isn't there?
I mean,
and
you
Steve
mentioned
Bruce coming back as well to Villa Park. That's going to be another factor as well. So.
Yeah, you got Steve Bruce, then you got Wilson, who turned us down as well. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a bit spicy in that terms. And I think with you know what? Actually, just to come think of it, you're right. Bruce is going to be back. The crowds are there.
Mm.
How many cabins do you reckon we're going to see?
Good subject, you know.
Good subject coming up.
But you mentioned, Sogi, you mentioned about the ambition of the owners and stuff. Now, I was having a chat with Dev a couple of weeks back and stuff, and we just started talking about the discussions about the expansion of Villa Park and the potential, the stadium, whatever they're going to do. I know they're working on the ticket office and they're going to do some sort of hotel there. What can you see? We heard a lot about that when it came to Lerner. He was going to expand the corners of the North Stand, or renew the North Stand he's doing. What do you reckon, Sog, in terms of realistic stuff that they'll do?
I think first and foremost is progression on the pitch. I think if Villa consistently getting better and we're up around the top 7, 6 consistently, and these waiting lists are still there. I mean, I know I've applied for my season ticket for one of my kids. Hopefully I'll get one in 2 years, but it's only then, yes, look to expand. But I think under O'Neill, remember when apparently we had waiting lists. As soon as all that went downhill, and we had McLeish, and then after that Lambert. I mean, where were the crowds? We were getting 31, 32,000. So imagine if we've extended this grand, and we've made it, let's say, argument's sake, 47, 48,000 seat stadium, and then I know, let's say there's also a sudden downturn, and you might be getting 31, 32,000, but if our owners truly believe they're going to be this for the long haul and they're going to push this club into the right direction and they expand the ground, then yeah, we have to trust them. They're the only people who know what they plan to do.
It's a good
but
point.
Guys, if you look at it, Leicester, that's an example. Leicester did it the way we're talking about. They actually built the ground first, and then the success of the team came. I know Martin O'Neill did the job before then, but they actually moved from Filbert Street to this new stadium, and that's after that they started tracking the better players and the better manager, and they said, and then obviously the team got better. So you could work both ways, really. I can see what you're saying, but you could work the other way as well. You've got a brand new stadium. The players could be attracted to a new stadium, new training facilities, and
more income.
There's also a bit of a model now, isn't there? The way Man City have done it, where they've not just done the ground, they've done the training ground, and they've then done the surrounding area in terms of the local area. They've developed the whole area. Now, from what I understand, I may be completely off the mark, but Villa own a lot of the land around the area, and there is talk about improving everything around Villa Park to make it a little bit more of a
village.
Yeah, almost like a village, to make a little bit of an entrance and stuff, So if they do, and this comes into what you said about the longevity of how long they're in it for. Are they really in it for the long term? And we've seen them, across the pond in America, where they've actually won the title with the team, and it was a team that's unknown, the Milwaukee. I can't even remember the name, but they've smashed it over there. So if they can do it because they've followed a particular model, I know the American model won't work here, but there's English teams who, when it comes to a stadium, they've gone through a model. Obviously, the investment will be there. There's going to be some other money that they get out of it because they can rent out suites and whatnot. But like you said, the bread and butter is getting the fans through. And if we've got, I think this year with 30,000 season ticket holders, or 35,000, whichever it was, that's a hell of a lot. We've not been at this level before, so they need to capitalize on the fact that we're smashing it. There needs to be momentum, absolutely. There needs to be excitement. Losing Jack is obviously a massive blow, but we've got some really good players and we've got some committed players. And you know what? Sometimes you don't realize what you got. We're a massive club, and players will come, and I'm sure managers will come. I remember back in the day when Sven was England manager, and he, the fake shake, and he was saying, then he goes, Villa are a perfect team to kind of buy out, and then because that the potential for Villa is huge, and I think it's still there now. We can grow, expand the stadium, get the players in. Well, we're there, we're halfway there because we've got a massive worldwide fan set. It's just like you said, I think there needs to be consistency on the pitch, and hope to God that we've still got that consistency this year in terms of league places at least, or even a cup run.
But Sam, we've been here before. Didn't Randy Lerner start off like this as well? Yeah, we had Martin O'Neill, Randy Lerner, who was going to be massive. We're going to track all these other players, and then we sold James Milner, and we lost everything. Went tits up. Oh no, everything went. Sorry, everything did go tits up. You're right. Everything did go tits up. No, you're absolutely right. Then I think, and that was a concern. We lose one player, we don't want a domino effect. And last time around, we had that domino effect, didn't we? Because the players, I think, we lost Ashley Young, and everyone went in there one by one. They went per season. So we just lost the whole spine of the team, and then obviously Randy Lerner must have seen the money coming in, got excited with that, and we don't want that with these new owners. Now they've got 100 million in their pocket. We could start a couple more players.
I think the difference with these owners, when I think Lerner brought us the club, Doug Ellis left us in a sound financial position, and it was attractive. Oh, they're okay. They've not got much debt. Let's add to it. These owners, they bought us with debt because Dr. Tony, God knows what the hell he did. He bought us. He's all of a sudden, all he's done is reinvested the parachute money. It's failed, and then we were literally. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had no doubt that we weren't going to. I didn't want to think that we were going to go into administration. I always thought somebody will come in and buy Villa. We're too much of a big club for somebody to say, nah, leave it. But these guys came in. They writ off that debt. They got rid of him, Tony, whatever place he had on the board, and they got rid of that debt, and then they ploughed their own money into the club to buy players. So looking at that, then the fact that they've done that obviously shows me that, you know what, they're in it for the long haul. They've lost, so they've not made any money buying Villa. They've actually lost money, but they're still willing to back us, and it's only a good thing in my eyes.
Yeah, you make a good point. We were, if we look back, sometimes it's being grateful, because if you look back, we were that close to administration, all that kind of stuff. They did come in. They brought us. There've been some really poor owners in the Premiership from different clubs and stuff. So they have brought us. They've given investment. They've poured money in, and like I said, their own money. I think keeping them interested, hopefully, is something that they'll do. The fact that Villa are, I think also he doesn't get mentioned as much, but Christian Purcell, I think, done a brilliant job behind the scenes. That statement that he did for Jack when he left, I think.
Very professional. Yeah,
it was so good.
Brilliant.
It was so good that Blues did it when they couldn't finish the stadium off one of the teams.
The stand down finished, yeah.
No, but in that sense, the Lang we've got in the background, we've got Perla, Christian Perla, and I think the framework of the club behind the scenes is set up really good. This and which is probably why, if we do change the management or the coaching staff in the duration of the season, I don't think we'll have such a hit that we did have last time. But you're right to mention Dr. Tony or whatever, and his weird really tweets that he used to send out.
The cryptic, yeah.
But we were. I mean, at one point we were going to get, Jack was going to go to Tottenham for 20 million, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes it is looking at and thinking we're grateful for where, but the problem is we've been places as Villa, and we're itching to get back. This whole sleeping giant thing. It's frustrating now because we want to get back. And you're right, watching the likes of Leicester do so well. Leicester sold some of the best players the Premier League's seen, Kante, Mahrez and stuff, and they're still smashing it. So there's no reason why we can't but we need the right setup. And I like Brendan Rodgers as a manager, and it's, you know, what he's doing, and sometimes that goes to show, doesn't it? Having the right manager, a good coach, good manager, does wonders for a team.
There's talk about Brendan Rodgers before he went to Celtic to come to Villa, and if that had happened, with all of our training facilities and everything like that, I reckon.
I think, Dev, honestly, if we weren't in the Championship at the time, I think he would have come to us at the time, because he wanted the Prem, and that's what he got with Leicester.
You've got Leicester, obviously they've bottled it the last couple of years, not getting in top four, but I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if you do it this year. I think, I don't think now, even if Dino went and they tried to approach him, I don't think he'd leave Leicester. He's onto a good number there, but we need a manager in that same mould who, I couldn't think of anyone off the top of my head. I couldn't say, go and get him, he'll be good. Obviously, we can look at the big boys. I mean, I don't know what he's doing now. The older, was it the bum sniffer, Joachim Low? He's left Germany. He's won the World Cup. He's done wonders. I mean, I know it's international management, but he's left.
Bro, imagine taking him. But imagine taking him to a mixed
grill. He's got all his fingers in, wouldn't he?
But it's just he's got the pedigree. Just people might think, well, he's been an international manager for so long. I don't know what his record was before Germany, but I mean, potentially, could you attract someone like that? I think we need somebody, which I don't think this is what Dean Smith is. That when he looks at an opposition and encounters a problem, I don't think he knows how to deal with it. I think it's, look, we're just going to play like this, and this is how we're going to do it. Whereas, if you look at Thomas Tuchel, he's played Man City 3 times, beat them, and he's just done a number on them.
But he's also... Sorry, carry on, so I'm going to interrupt you then.
Yeah, he'll switch a couple of players around to stifle De Bruyne or Sterling, and it's worked. And I don't think, judging by what happened at Watford, he couldn't do it with Saar, and say, come on, someone double up on him. And I just think the problem with Dean Smith. I think tactically, when the push comes to shove, I think he's just not top notch.
And I was going to say, it does go to show as well, though, that under Lampard, unfortunately, I like Lampard, but under Lampard, they weren't going anywhere, Chelsea. And Tuchel comes in and he turns them around massively. But I'm just going to, I'll bring it back down a bit. I know it's only been one match, and it sounds like we're like looking to get Chacha out. We're not on about that. We're not on about getting Chacha out. We're just saying, being realistically, if we're looking at it objectively, we're looking, and maybe he's caught short a little bit. But what he's done, Smith, from the rose-tinted kind of glasses point of view, is that he's always improved, and he's learned from his mistakes. So hopefully, we got Newcastle coming up. We've played them a couple of times last year. We did well against them, from what I remember. I don't know. I mean, it's his chance now. We're going to have a full house at Villa Park. Villa Park full house is one of the best stadiums. No one can deny that. Everyone knows what Villa's like and Villa Park is like. But what are you guys thinking predictions wise? Dev, you go first with your predictions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we only played one game. The players had a chance to gel. We've had quite a few new introductions as well, so we've got to give them a chance. It's too early yet to get negative. Being absolutely truthful, before the Watford game, I actually didn't think we'd win that one. I was quite happy with the draw, but because I knew they'd have bounce back. They're going to be first game back in the Premiership. They're going to be well up for it. Newcastle, I'm a bit more confident. I reckon we could do something. Maybe we'll get a win, but again, it's going to be really tight. It's going to be a 1-0 or 2-1, something like that.
Okay. Sogi, what about you? What do you reckon?
I think we'll win. I think attacking wise, I think we've got a lot more than them. I think apart from Maximum and Wilson, which you could add Almer on, but I just think it's a bit of a headless chicken, to be honest. We can have Watkins, Ings. I've heard Traore actually might have got injured against this behind closed doors game against Liverpool. Okay. That remains to be seen. But we've got Bailey. I think we'll have too much going forward. We will win, and I would love a clean sheet, even if it's 2-0, 1-0, a clean sheet. But I do think we will win. I'll probably go with 2-1 Villa.
Do you worry about? So you mentioned then about We got better attacking. We're going to be at home, so we're going to be pushing to go forward. We got caught on the counter against Watford. Do you reckon, with the likes of Wilson and St. Maximin, do you reckon that's a legitimate fear?
To be honest, yes, of course. But again, it depends. If we see the signs early enough, and it's happened once or twice to get away with it, it all boils back down to what our manager does. If they've hit us twice on the counter and almost scored, and we still keep playing the way we do, it's just, again, I hope our manager learns by mistakes. But I don't think that game will pan out. I think the difference was Watford were at home, had the crowd behind them. I think Newcastle are the away team. But again, the first goal is important. If they get it, they will sit back and again look to counter us. I think if we get it, it might bring them out to play a bit more. And I think we'll hit them. So.
We could play Axel on that side if Target's still not fit.
You know, we could also play Axel.
That's the problem.
Yeah, we could also play Axel holding mid, couldn't we? Because when he first came, on his first spell, he played like a holding midfielder, didn't he?
Under Bruce,
I think so. I mean, I might be wrong on that, but I think
he
so.
is. He can. I've heard he's played there in his younger Man United days, but it's worth a punt. I mean, he's not left-footed. That's why I know he's actually young. But it'd be harsh to drop Target, and then. But I can see it happening. Target being dropped, and Ashley Young will be our next left back for the next 10 games. Which, let's be honest, he's just been brought as backup, not to take the places. And Target, to be honest, last couple of seasons been our steady Eddie.
Yeah,
he's been really good.
Can't argue with that. All right, so we haven't mentioned one of our new boys. He scored his goal as well, Ings, right? So he had a steady game, but I could only think of 7 other Villa players who scored on their debut. Now the 7 I've got, I'll give you guys a shot first to go through, see if you can match any of the names that I've got. And then I guess the challenge is for the listeners is to let the PV group know in terms of who else has scored on the Premier League debut, and let us know. So I've got 7. Sogi, can you think of any? Can you think of the ones that I've got and then add any more?
Bent.
Darren Bent, yeah. Because Darren Bent was room scoring against Man City.
That was Man City, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dev, I got Dublin.
Yes, Dublin scored. He scored 2, didn't he, on his debut?
Watkins? Ollie Watkins?
Don't think Watkins scored on his debut, no.
No, didn't he? No? Okay.
Well, it definitely weren't Angal. He took absolutely ages to score, didn't he?
He scored. Last game, send Cov down, wasn't it?
Luke Nillis.
Nillis, yeah, good shout. Yeah, I got Nillis.
I'm sure he scored against Chelsea when we were building the Trinity, and then next game, poor guy, snapped his leg.
Yeah, against.
Be John Carew on there, or
no, not John Carew. So I'll tell you what. I'll go through my 7. So you've mentioned 3 of them: Luke Nillis, Darren Bent, Dion Dublin, Milan Barras scored on his debut back in the day.
Okay.
Ben Teke did as well. Obviously, Danny Ings. So that's 6. This next one took me by surprise. I had to actually Google this one. Zach Knight. He scored on his debut as well.
Oh yes, against Chelsea.
Against Chelsea. When we beat him 2-0, innit? Mourinho got sacked up
2-0,
yeah. Game, yeah.
I think where's Abramovich is walking away and Doug Ellis is shaking his hand.
Doug Ellis smugly shaking his hand, wasn't he? Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So for us, I mean, listeners, we got 7. I mean, this is without Googling. I had to Google that night, to be honest with you, because I was like thinking, I'm sure there's one. So if you guys can think of any others, just drop us a tweet, DM us or whatever. Just add to the tweet on this and let us know if you can think of any others. We got 7. I'm sure there's many more. There's got to be a few more. I think Merce
before our time. Yeah.
Merce might have done it as well. I'm not sure whether he did or not. I know he had a good start to his Villa career. But lads, I've got the predictions from you guys. 2-1. I think I'm going to try and be a bit more ambitious and say we're going to do it 2-0. We're going to go for that clean sheet and actually get it this time around. In terms of aspirations for the season, just to finish on it, lads, what do you see? What's first of all, what's realistic? What's reasonable? And what do we actually want? What's the aspiration? Obviously, we want up top 4, but if we're going to be a bit realistic about it, what do you reckon, Dev?
Okay. So, again, going back to what our owners want and what our ambitions are. If we want to be more ambitious, we've got to be finish higher than last year, which was the 11th, was it, in last year?
Mm-hmm.
So So we've got to go eighth or higher. After losing Jack's massive. Again, I'll still be happy between 8th and 11th of that. Obviously, we need more investment.
So what do you reckon? Do you reckon that if we finish, so let's say 8th, argument's sake, that Chacha will stay for the following season?
Yeah, that to me, it's progression. He's done it without Jack Grealish. Whereas last season, you only
Very
finished.
true.
When Jack Grealish left, you finished 11th. Now, if he finishes top half, 9th, 8th, you could argue then he's done well. And do we give any reason for him losing our best player? Do we give any reason he needs to go? I think I would love to challenge for the top 6 at least. I know top 4 ain't going to happen, maybe for the next few years, but top 6 like West Ham did, even to try and get into the Europa League. I don't want to get into this Europa second division, but Europa League. But yeah, I agree with Dev. I think if we finish, between 11th, so I'd say at least top 10 finish. It's progression. Whether it's enough and the owners want more, then that's a different thing. But to me, that's progression, and it's progression made without that sellout. So
yeah, Sam, I was just asking. I thought there's rumours obviously we was going to get 80 million to spend this transfer window. Is that still there? And do we get that plus Jack's money of 100 million? So is it 180 million, or is it just the?
See, my opinion, initially, the money we were spending was regardless of Jack going or not. According to the way it panned out, we spent the money and then Jack got sold, and we didn't want to sell him. But if I'm being a bit pessimistic, we knew he was going, so we spent the money. So it depends. I mean, there's talk about James Ward-Prowse, for example. There's talk about a couple of other players that we're after. If I'm being realistic, I think we've done our the transfers for this season. I hope we get another couple, especially one big name player that we can get. But the question is which position? Because like I said, we spent money on Sanson. We've got Louise. We've got Nakamba. We're trying to get rid of Horahan. We're trying to get rid of Gilbert. We're trying to get rid of Wesley, apparently. So I'm not sure we'll do anything unless we do move other players on. So I'm not sure, mate. If I'm honest with you, I think they'll hold on to it for now and maybe see where we are December.
I think we need a backup goalkeeper. I think Jed Steer. I think if he trusted Jed Steer when Heaton got injured, we wouldn't have brought in Reina. Now we've got Martinez. If he gets injured, is he going to trust Steer? I mean, Steer's done fantastically well for us, but is he do we all trust him to come in and do a job? I'm just putting it out there. And I do genuinely believe we will sign one more player, where I think for some reason, I think it will be central midfield. But I just think we will sign one more player.
You make a good point about keeper, because you're right. If you trusted Steer more than just a cup keeper, he wouldn't have signed Rain and would have gone on with him. The problem is now getting a keeper in who will know that he's an understudy. He's only going to be a number 2 to Martinez, because Martinez will play the majority. But it's an interesting one. I'm with you.
That did make me laugh. Yeah, that made me laugh today. That Nyland went to Bournemouth, and it's because of Nyland's error against Sheffield United that Bournemouth went down as well.
We'll skirt over that one, because end of the it was a draw. It was fine. But no, lads. On a serious note, I think I agree. I think we'll get probably one more player in. I think we need to for a bit of morale with the team, and I think it'll be good timing before the transfer window. I hope he gets it done before deadline day, because I can't stand the bullshit that goes around deadline day. Hopefully, it's all done before that. But nonetheless, I think I'm looking forward to the weekend's game. I'm looking forward to getting that good feel factor back at Villa, because we had a lot of it last year. Year before it was let's survive. Last year we got some really good results, so let's hopefully keep that going. But lads, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining me today, and hopefully we can have a conversation next time when we've got a couple of good results and we've got a couple of other big name signings behind us.
And we could sit in a pub and do it.
Say again?
So we could sit in a pub and do it this time.
And we could sit in a pub and do it with a mixed grill. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been brilliant. Wicked. We'll
Cheers,
do
guys.
this again soon.
I'm just going
Cheers,
to
Sam.